The Last of Us Episode 8 has just premiered on HBO, and once again, for another week, we can all come together and be very sad and excited and fearful and happy and cry and so many emotions as a group. At the start of this episode, Joel is still near death, and Ellie ventures out into the snowy woods to try to find food. When she's able to actually shoot a deer, that deer wanders and dies deep in the woods, and two men from a nearby town encounter that deer before Ellie does, one of which is actually played by Troy Baker, the actor who plays Joel in the game. These two guys are part of a cult of sorts, and their leader is named David. He teaches from the Bible, but he definitely does not practice what he teaches. He's abusive to people in his town, he's violent with them, he even acknowledges that he's a violent man and has violent tendencies in one very pivotal scene. But at gunpoint, Ellie agrees to trade this deer for some penicillin to help heal Joel. And what follows is an incredibly tense episode, and currently my favorite so far. As soon as the episode ended, I immediately texted a friend of mine and I was like, dude, this episode is perfect. We have to watch this together, like ASAP, because he's, you have that friend you want to like watch things with and experience things with, like, because you just want to talk about them, and that he's that for me. Even though these episodes air on Sundays, I actually usually watch them on Wednesdays or Thursdays because I'm fortunate enough to receive screener links from HBO early. So I have a few days to think about the episode, film the review, and then on Sundays I wait for the footage to be available so I can incorporate the footage into the video that I've already shot and edited, and it's a fun way of doing this. But it's interesting because for a few days I get to really think about the episode and then usually watch it again on Sunday with some friends. And so I get to have like twice The Last of Us, and this episode in particular has really, really stuck with me. I think there's so much amazing tension bottled from beginning to end, but it's also just very creepy for so many reasons. And of course, as usual, spoiler warning, but this entire town doesn't realize that they're cannibals. They have no idea that their leader is finding stragglers, killing them, cutting them up, and serving them to everyone because they're going hungry. All it takes is one look from the chef who hands a pile of meat to a cook, and she's like, what is it? And he's like, it's venison. And I'm like, no, it fucking isn't. You're lying. Get that shit away from me. But they are good on their word, and they do bring Ellie that penicillin, but they let her know that they're after someone who was with a young girl, because that guy who impaled Joel in a previous episode happens to be friends with them. And Joel did not let that guy live. So they're after Joel, and Ellie is a way to get close to him. But more than that, this guy David's really fucking weird and creepy and strange and puts Ellie in a cage and shit. So there's some nastiness going on there under the surface too. We get a great sequence where Ellie is trying to fight some of these guys though, and eventually is captured. And we finally truly get to see Pedro Pascal as Joel go on a bit of a rampage. Because when he realizes that Ellie's been abducted, just like in the game, he doesn't give a shit, man. He tortures people. He will shove a knife into your kneecap and threaten to pop that sucker out. And that's just... Even when he said it, I was like, oh, no. Really getting a chance to see Pedro Pascal portray these sequences that are so iconic from the game, and to see that fatherly love for Ellie communicated through him while she's not there. And he doesn't have to pretend like he doesn't care anymore, and he can forget about his gruffness and just be like, where the hell is she? Truly one of the more satisfying character moments I've seen on television in the past few years. Equally satisfying, though, is Ellie in this cage being tormented by David. He's trying to get her to do things and agree to be like this weird servant slash helper right hand girl thing, and she just does not take any of it. She throws it right back in his face, and it's such a compelling moment, and it's why Ellie is such a great character, because she will continue to fight in the face of opposition. This is the best I've seen Bella Ramsey in the show, and she has been wonderful from start to finish. And of course, getting brutal revenge against this guy and finally escaping with Joel. Everything about this episode captured the game so well, maybe too well. I could see some people being like, this is like copy and paste, and that's fine. I get that, but I don't care. Like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I've said it before. I don't always agree when artists get an IP And they're like, well, I gotta put my stamp on this because I'm a big special artist and you need to respect me. So, like, fuck everything you did. I'm gonna do what I wanna do. In some cases, you improve it. In some cases, you don't. But when you have something like The Last of Us Part 1 that is so universally loved, why? Why change it? Just do what works. Find ways to make it better. Find ways to make interesting changes. Delve into backstories. Show places of the world that are dealing with the infection that you never saw in the game. All that's great. But this part of the game is so perfect. I'm glad that they just essentially recreated it in an episode, and it was extremely satisfying. And I have to say, I was concerned about the last 2 episodes and what you could or couldn't do in them in regards to what's left in the game to cover if they do complete the game in season 1. But this episode was under an hour, and they covered a lot. There's one more episode. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of stuff to cover. I'm starting to fear a cliffhanger here. I don't like cliffhangers. Don't do that to me, Craig Mazin. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode as much as I did. It was so powerful and well acted and well shot. Again, with the production design and all the snow in the town. And this episode, I think, a little more than others, has really showcased how bad people have gotten in this world. And that maybe the infected aren't as bad as some of the people and the things that they have turned to doing to survive. We got one more episode left, guys. I'm very curious to see how they decide to wrap things up or not. I really hope they don't have a cliffhanger. Guys, thank you so much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.